are looking at the Human and Social Biology, June 2017, paper 1. It gives us approximately 1 hour and 15 minutes to complete this paper. And you have the initial instructions. You have 60 items, 60 questions, and you have to answer all by shading on your answer sheets. And take note that this is about the best answer. And they give you a sample item to show how you are supposed to shade and to show how the question could come, meaning it has answer A, answer B, answer C, and answer D for you to choose. And again, I want to emphasize that you are supposed to do the best. The best answer is what they are looking for. So let's get into it by starting off with question 1. And if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, you could take this opportunity to do it now before we begin the paper. And this paper would follow the format of the syllabus, which means it goes section A, then B, then C, then D, then E. And that would take us all 60 questions. So let's go. The process by which living organisms get energy from their food is called respiration. Which of the following is not a function of the cell membrane? And once you see these capital letters, that should let you know that they are giving you a hint in how to answer the question. So you are looking for one of the not functions. All right, so this is not a function of cell membranes, and that will be allow the passage of substances through the cytoplasm. The cell membrane has nothing to do with allowing substances to pass through the cytoplasm. So this is not the function, whereby all the others are actual functions. Helps support a fluid-filled cell, that's true. Keeps the cell contents in correct proportion, that's true. Controls the passage of substances into and out of the cell, that's true. So the only one that is not a function is D. During osmosis, the movement of water molecules through the semi-permeable membrane continues until what? And take your time and read this question if it comes. The amount of water molecule is equalized on both sides. That doesn't mean concentration equal. The hydrostatic pressure equals the osmotic pressure. The osmotic pressure equals the osmotic potential. Turgidity, flaccidity are equal. Turgid is where something is full. Flaccid is where something is empty. Both those things can be equal. One is either full or one is either empty. The hydrostatic pressure equals the osmotic pressure. It's the best answer. Both of them are on the same terms. Remember, osmotic potential is just the gradient. Question 4. Item 4 refers to the following diagrams, which show a red blood cell before and after being placed on concentrated salt solution for 1 hour. We have the before, it's nice and full. We have the after 1 hour, it's getting flaccid, meaning liquid has come out of it. The change in red blood cell shown in 2 occurs because water leaves it. Water leaves it. And if we're talking by water, the movement of water is always osmosis. So water leaves the cell, which means B is our answer. Item 5 refers to the following aquatic food chain: phytoplankton, zooplankton, fish, water bird. The producer in this food chain is phytoplankton, which makes our answer D. Question 6, which of the following would best prevent constipation? We are looking for something that has plenty fiber or water, and of the best options. We have chicken soup. Yes, we get liquid, but the chicken part, vegetable, rice, and fish. Vegetable part, but we know vegetable rice have more rice than vegetables, and fish is protein. Fruits and vegetable salad. Oh, plenty fiber there. Wheat, bread, and cheese. So the best answer, because they make sure and told us it with capital letters, is C. Question 7. Which of the following reagents give a positive test for the main food present, a slice of baked potato? And we know a baked potato is one of those starchy foods. It's high in starch. So we are looking for iodine, which is the solution used for starch test. Which of the following vitamins can be produced by the skin as well as obtained from food? And if we're talking about the skin, we mean sun shining on our skin, which is vitamin D, so which also corresponds to D. Question 9 refers to the following diagram, which shows the structure of a typical tooth. Which of the parts labeled A, B, C, or D supplies the tooth with food? And we are watching the label lines, and we see the C goes across to the pulp cavity, which supplies the tooth with food. Question 10. Which of the following teeth aid in grinding food into smaller pieces? And you grind food with the teeth further back into the mouth. So the molars will definitely be involved, and the premolars. So we are seeing B. The incisors are for cutting, the canines are for piercing or puncturing, and the molars and premolars are the best for grinding. Question 11. Let's make it a little smaller. Which of the following graphs best represent the effect of pH on the activity of the enzyme salivary amylase in the digestive process? All right, they ask you for the pH, and you have to think of where salivary amylase is. It's in the mouth, considering they mentioned saliva. So we are looking, and they tell you better. So we are looking for one that gives a higher pH because the mouth is not acidic. So we are looking for one that is, the curve is more leaning towards our right side, and we have C being the best choice for question 11. Question 12 refers to the following diagram of part of the human digestive system, which sequence correctly matches the numbered structures to their function. We have 1, which is the liver. We have 2, which is the stomach. We have 3, which is the small intestines. So which part secretes gastric juices, which part produces bile? Absorb soluble end products. We know absorbing soluble end products is 3. Produces bile is 1, and secretes gastric juices is 2, the stomach. So we just need to look at that, and we see that turning out to be C. The process by which undigested food is eliminated from the body is called undigested food, is the key word here, exgestion. Do not mix it up with excretion, which is the removal of metabolic waste. Question 14. Amino acids, which are produced as a result of digestion and not used, not those capital letters. All right, we're looking for not used for growth, not used for insulation, not used to make carbohydrates, and not used to repair worn out tissues. What is the answer? And I hope persons are thinking, why are you using amino acids to make carbohydrates? That not sounding right. So that is the not used. All right. Item 15 refers to the following table, which shows the function of some structures of the respiratory system. Structure 1 filters and warms and moistens air, prevents food from entering the trachea. Structure 2. Structure 3 provides air passage to each lung, and structure 4 provides song or produces song with voice box. They have vocal cords written as well. The structures labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, and you have to give the names of the structures. You're giving the names of the structures, and we will just tell you that this filters warm and moisten air, is the nasal passage. The epiglottis is what prevents food from entering the trachea. The bronchus or bronchi is what allows air into the lungs. Each lung, there's a left and a right lung, and the larynx is another name for voice box. So C is the answer. If you also got C, you could give this video a like in support. During a sprint, muscles in the human body produce lactic acid by the process of, it is a sprint, so there is no oxygen. And the event where there is no oxygen for respiration is called anaerobic respiration. So the answer is D. To deliver mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, the following steps should be taken. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they ask you for the correct order in which these steps should be taken. You could either order it forwards or order it backwards and then find your answer. So let's go through. 1, press the head back with one hand and push jaw upward with the other. 2, pinch the nostril and seal your mouth with the casualty's mouth. Give 4 quick blows to casualty mouth and repeat every 5 seconds, or you could place the person on their back. So they ask you for the answer, and you should start off by placing the person on their back, yeah? And that is the giveaway. This placing the person, because imagine doing all these other steps where the person is lying down on their chest, on their front. That makes it seem very, very weird. Even some would say impossible to do. All right, so the answer for question 17, simply because we found this step makes D the correct order of steps. Item 18 refers to the following graph. Which of the following can be deduced from the graph? And we have the graph shows the number of cigarettes smoked per day on the x-axis and the risk of lung cancer on the y-axis. And we have a nearly straight line of it increasing. And you would take your time and read the entire response, but we would tell you that the answer is A. As the number of cigarettes smoked per day increases, the risk of getting lung cancer increases. Item 19 refers to the following diagram, a vertical section through the human heart. Which of the following parts is taken by blood leaving the right ventricle? Now, look, they label the right ventricle here. So we see that it goes out through 1, it comes back in through 3, and then goes out through 2. So the order is 1 with respect to blood. The order, that's the order. Look at the arrows. Be careful to watch these arrows correctly. All right? That is your hint. The arrows show the order. All right? So we just want to put them in order. Remember that 4 is the left ventricle. All right? 4 is the left ventricle. This needs to contract to squirt the blood out of 2. All right? So your answer, you know, is B. Remember, 4 has to contract first to squirt the blood out of 2. Capillaries have very thin walls, which have only 1 layer of cells. This is to allow rapid diffusion of gases and glucose. Yes, that's the right answer. Slow diffusion, no. Rapid diffusion of proteins and fats. Why is blood going around carrying proteins and fats? Shouldn't it be glycerol, fatty acids, and amino acids? So proteins and fats being in your blood, no, something is wrong there. So your answer is A. Before we do items 21, we want to encourage you to subscribe. We are looking at the June 2017 paper in Human and Social Biology, and subscribing to our channel does encourage us to do more videos likewise to encourage your preparation into exam. Item 21 refers to the following incomplete table, which shows blood vessels supplying more organs. We have a blood vessel that is just going to the lung, the hepatic artery, it's going to 2. 3 is the intestine, and the renal artery is 4. There are 2 giveaways. The lungs, you know that is pulmonary. The renal artery, you know that is kidneys. All right, so that already lines up B, pulmonary and kidneys, which means you could fill in the hepatic artery, and we know that hepatic artery is liver, and mesenteric artery is the intestines. So if you didn't know that, there were hints in the question to help you arrive at B for your answer. Coronary thrombosis occurs when, take your time, read all the answers for the question, and you will come up with the coronary artery being blocked by a clot. All right. 23. Which of the following vitamins assist in the process of blood clotting? And we know vitamin K, it activates prothrombin to thrombin before platelets and everything. This is a popular question, so persons should become very familiar with this question. Item 24 refers to the following diagram of part of the human skeleton, and be careful to watch the label lines. Do not mix up Y and Z. Notice that Y is going to the thick bone, which would be your shin bone, and Z is going to the thin outer bone. All right, so be careful not to mix that up. Which of the following combination correctly identifies the bones labeled X, Y, and Z? So we have the femur, the inner bone being the tibia, and the outer bone, that Z bone, being the fibula, which puts our answer at B. Which of the following diagrams represent the pelvic girdle? So we could just look at them and see which one looks familiar. And the one that looks familiar is B. Item 26 refers to the following diagram of a human arm. Which of the following occurs when the arm is bent or flexed? The bicep pulls on the radius. Yes, that's what a bicep does. The bicep contracts, it pulls on the radius, and the tricep relaxes. So the tricep pulls down on the ulnar. No, that is if we wanted to straighten the arm, but they ask for bend of reflex. The scapula is pulled down. Why are we bringing the scapula into this? The tricep shortens, not for bending or flexing the arm. So the correct answer is A. Which of the following best, look at capital letters jump out at us, represent the location of the ball and socket, hinge, and fixed joints? 27. So we have an elbow, that's a hinge joint. So it's not a ball and socket. So we're just looking for the first ball and socket, which is your shoulder, the jaw. No. The wrist, no. So the shoulder, then the elbow, then the cranium, All those three are correct. So 27 being C is correct. Item 28 and 29 refer to the following simplified diagram of a kidney tubule. We have the different parts labeled. In answering this item, each labeled part may be used once, more than once, or not at all. Which labeled part collects filtrate from the glomerulus? And if we have the glomerulus here, we have the Bowman's capsule. We know this is the afferent and this is the efferent arterioles. So you see it coming out right here. You see where the arrows are pointing, which is right here. So that gives us our answer as B for 28. Which labeled part brings blood to the glomerulus? We know that the afferent brings blood to, and the efferent takes blood away. So A is the answer for 29. Question 30. Which of the following occurs when blood sugar level rises above normal? And you should have insulin being secreted or the increase. So 30, the answer is D. Question 31. The following diagram of the human brain, and they have 4 parts identified. Which part of the brain is responsible for conscious thought? This is the part where you are doing all your thinking. And that should be the biggest part of your brain, the cerebrum. Which of the following is an involuntary action? An involuntary action is an automatic action where you don't need to think about it. Eating, you have to think about eating sometimes. People spend so much time thinking about eating. It's sometimes a difficult choice to make, especially if you have plenty of options. Walking, yes, you can't just randomly get up and walk down the road. You have to think about where you're going. Breathing is involuntary because if we didn't remember to breathe, we would die. Riding a bike, that's very similar to walking. So the involuntary action is C. Which of the following occurs to bring about accommodation in the eye? Accommodation is the change in vision to see objects that are close by, to see objects that are far away. So the eye needs to change in terms of what is happening with the lens. All right? Remember, your lens needs to bend light so that the image lands on your retina. So tightening of suspensory ligaments through relaxation of the ciliary muscles. Remember, there are 2 things that work antagonistically. So one contracts, which is tightened, while one relaxes or loosens. Loosening of suspensory ligaments through relaxation, both loosening and relaxation, same thing. So this is out. Tightening of suspensory ligaments with no change. No, there must be a change. They are antagonistic. Loosening of suspensory with no change. No. All right. So the only answer is A, because it works antagonistically with each other. So 33, the answer is A. 34 refers to the following diagram showing some of the organs in the body which produce hormones, and they have labeled one organ S, and that organ is the pancreas. This is the pancreas, and they ask you which hormone is secreted by the organ labeled S, and the hormone that is most popular from that organ is insulin. All right, there are other organs like glucagon, but that is not present here. So insulin is the answer. Adrenaline comes from these organs right above the kidneys. Estrogen comes from these ovaries. Look, they draw them lower down. Thyroxine comes from the neck region, the organ in the neck. Let's look at question 35. The role of luteinizing hormone is to do what? Control ovulation and form the corpus luteum. prepare the wall of the uterus for the zygote, stimulate the corpus luteum to secrete progesterone, promote uterine contractions for childbirth, the hormone that does childbirth contractions or labor is oxytocin. So we know that these are all incorrect except A. Question 36. Which of the following comparison is not true for nervous and hormonal control? And I hope everyone is seeing that not, the capital letters. So electrical messages travel along neurons. That sounds true. Chemical messages travel along synapses. That's also true. The response is usually short-lived. That's true. Messages travel slowly and take longer to have an effect. Oh, no, that's not true. So let's just make sure the next side corresponds to being not true as well. Messages travel fast and have a rapid effect. No, that is also not true. So 36 is D. Item 37 refers to the following diagram, which represents the front view of the male reproductive system. Which of the following correctly identifies the structures labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4? So we have 1, the sperm duct. We have 2, the urethra, which runs through the penis. We have 3, the prostate gland. We have 4, seminal vesicles. So the one that corresponds to that is C. Item 38 refers to the following diagram, which shows the human sperm or spermatozoa, A, B, C, and D, labeling the sperm. Which of the labeled parts contains mitochondria? And mitochondria is these little balls here. They are identified as circles in the diagram. This bigger circle with stripes is the nucleus, and this right at the head is a small vacuole. This is the tail, which gets its energy from the plenty mitochondria. So B is the answer. We are going on to question 39, which is a graph that shows the level of estrogen during the menstrual cycle. And we see it going up, and then coming down, nice curve. The estrogen level is highest right here. And if you just draw a line and come down, you reach at about day 14. And we know day 14 in the menstrual cycle, with out of 28 days on average, is when ovulation is occurring. So we are looking for that in our answer, and straight away we find it in A. Question 40, which of the following contraceptive methods prevent the egg from being implanted into uterus? A condom doesn't prevent the egg. That prevents the sperm. The diaphragm also prevents sperm. Intrauterine device, that one prevents the eggs. Spermicidal foam, that also prevents sperm. So the answer is C. Item 41, ovulation is the process by which female becomes pregnant. Nope. A male and female gamete fuses, that's called fertilization, so that's wrong. An egg is implanted into the uterus, that's implantation, so no. A mature egg is released into the oviduct or the fallopian tubes. Oviduct and fallopian tubes, they're both the same thing, they're just different names. So D is the answer. In a multicellular organism, whenever cells need to be replaced, cells divide by doing what? Mitosis. Chromosomes are made up of proteins, which you know as histones, and DNA. Question 44. Which of the following is an example of genetic engineering? Using stem cells to produce organs, tissue culture in banana production, cloning of high-producing animals, production of insulin by E. coli bacteria. This one is the one the syllabus asks you to know, so it should jump out at you as being the example for genetic engineering. Which of the following cannot, and notice those words, capital letters, be prevented by healthy lifestyle activities? Influenza, sickle cell anemia, iron deficiency anemia, or chronic heart disease. Influenza, you could prevent that. Sickle cell anemia, that's a genetic disease. Iron deficiency anemia, that's a deficiency of iron. You could get iron from eating correctly, eating those dark green leafy vegetables. And chronic heart disease is like eating too much fast food, which makes it a lifestyle disease. So it means the answer for 45 is B. Seema has the following signs, symptoms: constriction of bronchial tubes, coughing and wheezing. She is most likely suffering from asthma. Notice the word most in capital letters. Hypertension does not occur as a result of more capital letters. Hypertension, which is high blood pressure, does not occur as a result of obesity, anemia, arteriosclerosis, high cholesterol levels. And the only one that has nothing to do with hypertension is anemia, all right? Which is a deficiency in your red blood cells. Which of the following statements about herpes is true? Herpes is caused by bacteria. No, it is not. Herpes is caused by the herpes simplex virus, which is a virus. Herpes does not affect fertility. It is a sexually transmitted infection, or STD. So does not affect fertility. That is suspect. There's no complete cure for herpes. The newborn child of a herpes sufferer cannot be infected, which, to make such a bold statement, you can't make such a bold statement. That was a newborn child could still be infected with herpes, right? They're not permanently immune to it forever. All right, so the only answer is there is no complete cure for herpes. Which of the following symptoms causes the most, again, those capital letters, the most injury to a person suffering from dengue fever? And if you are hemorrhaging of internal organs, that means you are bleeding internally. So straight away, that is worse than muscle pain, aching joints, and abdominal pain. When dengue, or you hear dengue hemorrhagic fever, that person is very likely to die. So the answer is D. In order to purify water from a well for drinking, it is best to do what? To pasteurize it, to boil it to 100 degrees Celsius, boil it under pressure, subject it to ultra high temperatures. You subject it to under high temperature, you will vaporize it. Usually things that go into ultra high temperature is glassware, yeah, or metals. So the answer is you want to bring this water to a boil. (15.1) refers to the following diagram showing the life cycle of the housefly. We have the adult, the eggs, the larva, pupae. Which stage is prevented by keeping household refuge properly covered? And I hope everyone is thinking that, hey, if you cover the garbage, if you remove household refuge in a timely fashion, that you will prevent eggs from being laid by the adult. So you will prevent which stage, because they ask you to prevent the adults already there. So you will prevent eggs, which makes the answer B. 52, what type of immunity is acquired when antibodies are produced when a vaccine is administered? All right, so they tell us the things, the quantifying things, is acquired when antibodies are produced. Antibodies being produced means the body has to release the antibodies, has to produce them. And a vaccine means man-made. Another word for man-made is artificial. So we are looking at something that is artificial, active, or active artificial. And we see that 52 being A as the answer. 53 refers to the following graph. Look, it has a rat population here and human leptospirosis cases going up just slightly after the rat population increases. What inference can be drawn from the graph? You would take your time and read all the responses, but we know that there is a correlation between leptospirosis and rats because rats are the vector spreading it. So 53, we are going with D. 54, water pollution could be controlled by public education and laws, pouring sewage into rivers after bacterial decomposition, using nitrate fertilizers on crops planted near rivers, and washing in rivers using detergents containing phosphates. And we're talking about water pollution could be controlled. And if we're talking control, we know that educating the public and having laws and policies is how you control it. The process by which water vapor changes to water means it's going from gas state to liquid state is known as condensation, C. 56, chlorine bleach can be added to drinking water to improve the taste. No, water tastes fine without chlorine. Prepare it for filtration. Why just no filter it? Remove unpleasant smells, destroy microorganisms. The best answer is D. 57, which of the following is the correct sequence in testing water for bacteria? And you need to put them in order. Examine the agar in the petri dish for the presence of coliform colonies, these bacterial colonies. And this should be the last step. Huh? This should be the last step because you are testing water for bacteria. So if you are now examining the petri dish, this is the last step, which already tells us the answer is C. But you need to incubate the petri dish at least for 24 hours before you check for bacteria colonies. Yeah. And you would have collected some of the water in a sterile bottle at the start. So this would have been your first step. And this would be the second step, to pour water in sterile agar in a sterile petri dish. 58. Which of the following are effects of releasing untreated sewage into rivers and lakes? Increasing bacteria, decreasing oxygen, death of fish. And all three seem to be correct. So what are we looking for? 1, 2, and 3, which brings us to D. 59. Which of the following gases is produced in a landfill site? Ozone, steam, oxygen, methane. Methane is the answer. Ozone is the atmosphere. Steam, that seems like some kind of industry. Oxygen, plants do that. Methane is the one from a landfill. And the final question for this June 2017 Human and Social Biology, Paper 1. A substance is biodegradable if it can be broken down by bacteria to harmless materials. A. So this concludes the Paper 1 for Human and Social Biology, and it ends by telling you this is the end of the test. Do let us know how you would have fared in the comments. Otherwise, do remember to subscribe and like our videos to encourage us to do more.